We were just treated to not one but 2 trailers for House of the Dragon Season 2, one trailer from the Greens' point of view and the other from the Blacks, urging us to choose a side, just like how the great houses of Westeros must choose a side to support. Without further ado, let's get into a shot-by-shot breakdown. The Green trailer opens with shots of Alicent explaining why she did what she did to crown her son Aegon, believing it was Viserys' final wish for Aegon to be king after hearing him ramble on his deathbed. We see the Greens' banner begin to unfurl over King's Landing as they solidify their hold on the capital. Aegon struts up to the Iron Throne. Just by the way he sits down, you just know that he is going to abuse his new power. Notice that he also now wields the Targaryen Valyrian steel dagger, the same dagger that holds Aegon's prophecy and did that other thing that we don't speak of. King's Landing have installed some Scorpion ballistas to prepare for any dragon attacks. At this point in time, the only dragons that have ever been killed in Westeros were either killed by another dragon, like when Maegor used Balerion to kill his nephew and his dragon Quicksilver, and when Vhagar killed Arax at the end of Season 1, or more importantly when Aegon the Conqueror's sister wife Rhaenys Targaryen and her dragon Meraxes were shot out of the sky by a scorpion bolt during their invasion of Dorne. So without a dragon, historically a scorpion bolt and a lucky shot are the best bet to slaying a dragon. Next, we see Daemon in his Targaryen armor overlooking a camp. This is possibly in the Vale, but more probably in the Riverlands. Remember last season, Daemon stated his intention to fly to Harrenhal to secure a central stronghold for the Blacks to wage war from. We see a shot of Rhaenyra and her dragon Syrax flying overhead. Next, a hooded figure rattles a bag of gold towards a gold cloak in King's Landing. This is possibly Daemon, who many of the gold cloaks are still loyal to. He was their commander for a time, after all, and was even the one who established their uniform, outfitting the guard with their golden cloaks and weaponry. Next, we see 2 figures passing through Maegor's tunnels, which are a labyrinth of secret passageways that King Maegor had built during his rule. After the tunnels were completed, Maegor killed every single craftsman so that the secrets of the tunnels were his and his alone. Since Maegor's death, it seems some knowledge of the tunnels have been rediscovered. Last season, Daemon showed them to Rhaenyra to help her escape for a night of bonding. These 2 figures are likely Blood and Cheese, and under Daemon's orders are heading into the Red Keep to enact revenge for the death of Lucerys. A blood price must be paid. We see Aegon II clad in armor preparing for war. It looks like his crown has been embedded into his helmet, which is a nice touch. The crown was originally Aegon the Conqueror's crown, which was widely seen as a symbol of power and helped to add legitimacy to Aegon II's claim. So seeing Aegon II clad in Targaryen steel wearing the Conqueror's crown will give the appearance that he is the Conqueror come again and the rightful ruler. Next, we finally get a better look at Sunfire, the mount of Aegon II. He is supposed to be the most beautiful dragon to have ever lived, but in this dark environment he looks a bit dull or muted. Hopefully in the sunlight he lives up to the hype. Daemon and Caraxes land at Harrenhal to claim the important stronghold, as we see Aemond yapping about how he is prepared to face his uncle, clearly setting up the rivalry between the 2 champions of each side. Petals are thrown throughout King's Landing, and we see Alicent wearing a veil of mourning. This probably has nothing to do with those secret tunnels or that blood price thing I was talking about earlier. We get a shot of a member of House Bracken drawing a sword on some Blackwoods. Remember, in Season 1, that little Blackwood Spitfire killed a Bracken in a duel. The 2 houses have a long history of hating each other, and every generation or so, tensions really boil over. It is likely that this Bracken is seeking revenge for the death of his family member. This is a good reminder that this conflict is not just Greens versus Blacks. This war is an opportunity and an excuse to kill rival houses and get justice or revenge for old wounds. We see a shot of Criston Cole cleaning his blade. This looks like it was after beheading that lord, presumably at Duskendale, that we saw in the first trailer. Next, we see a chambermaid carrying a towel soaked in blood. Again, this probably has nothing to do with Maegor's tunnels, Blood and Cheese, or that silly little blood price thing. All this occurs while Otto tells Aegon the only path to victory now is through violence, to which Aegon says good, clearly not comprehending the realities and horror of war. We see a shot of Vhagar and Aemond flying overhead. Remember, Vhagar is the largest dragon alive at this point in time, and although the Greens have fewer dragons than the Blacks, Vhagar's sheer girth more than levels the playing field. We see Criston Cole riding into battle. Notice that he now wears the Hand of the King chain, meaning he has replaced Otto Hightower as Hand, likely due to Otto's diplomatic approach to the war, which allowed for the Blacks to gain an early advantage. Aegon will grow sick of his inaction and appoints Cole as Hand of the King as war requires a more violent approach. In the books, after appointing Cole, Aegon states, "My new hand is a steel fist. We are done with writing letters." So hopefully season 2 includes this line. We see Arik Cargill swinging a sword. This is likely on Dragonstone. In the books, Arik is sent disguised as his twin brother Eric to kill Rhaenyra. We see an army, possibly the Blacks, marching towards a castle. This could be Harrenhal after Daemon captured it. We see a shot of a new dragon flying over a forest. It looks to be Baela Targaryen, Daemon's daughter, which means the dragon is Moondancer. In the books, Baela and Moondancer largely sat out of the war as the pair were too young to fight, but based on the last few trailers, it looks like Baela and Moondancer might have their roles beefed up. In the final shot of the Greens trailer, we see another dragon, likely Dreamfire, the mount of Helena Targaryen. We did see Dreamfire in season 1 when Aemon traveled below the dragon pit and almost got roasted. Dreamfire's design is extremely similar to Drogon's in Game of Thrones, and that might be because Dreamfire is Drogon's mother. The books imply that Daenerys' dragon eggs might be a clutch laid by Dreamfire, so being of the same lineage, it makes sense that they look similar, especially when compared to the variety of other dragon designs we have seen in House of the Dragon so far. Now on to the second trailer. The trailer for the Blacks opens with a shot of a funeral pyre, possibly containing the remains of Lucerys. Some fans have speculated that Rhaenyra travels to Storm's End to search for Luke's body, as we saw her looking over the castle from afar in the first trailer. So perhaps she will find part of her son's body that she is now putting to rest in this scene. Later on in the trailer, we even see Rhaenyra and Syrax on a beach near Storm's End, which perhaps gives a bit more evidence towards this possibility. Or maybe this is Syrax roaring in mourning after they find Arax's remain. Next, we see a shot of Rhaenyra and Syrax flying across the God's Eye Lake towards Harrenhal in central Westeros. In the center of the lake, we see a small island covered in weirwood trees. This is the Isle of Faces. Despite being at the heart of Westeros, the Isle has only been visited by 2 characters in all of the history of Westeros. This is because there are strange winds and tides preventing anyone from traveling to the island. It is speculated that the island might be one of the last bastions for the Children of the Forest south of the Neck. In the books, a character who is active in the Dance of the Dragons manages to travel there seeking guidance. So hopefully we'll get to see what mysteries lie at the heart of Westeros in later seasons. We see a feast at Dragonstone with Rhaenyra, Baela, Jacaerys, and 3 other characters at the table. These 3 characters are likely dragon seeds, bastards of House Targaryen and Velaryon, who typically display Valyrian traits such as silver hair and purple eyes, but more importantly they possessed Valyrian blood, which is theorized to be an essential magical component required for dragon bonding. In the book, Jace issues a call to all dragon seeds on Dragonstone to come forward and claim one of the riderless dragons. In season 1, Daemon mentioned each of these dragons in the final episode. There are 3 wild dragons, the Grey Ghost, Sheepstealer, and the Cannibal, and 3 more that had previously known riders, Silverwing, Vermithor, and Seasmoke, who resides on Driftmark. Daemon even sung a Valyrian song to Vermithor, likely to prepare the dragon to accept a new rider. So expect each of these 3 characters to claim a dragon. Next, we see Rhaenyra traveling to the same location where Daemon sung to Vermithor. Here, there are a number of dragon keepers present. Remember, the dragon keepers were in season 1, and it is their job to house and protect the dragons, just as a stable hand would protect horses. We see a shot of Lucerys and Cregan Stark on the wall. At the end of season 1, Lucerys was sent north to gain the support of House Stark in the war to come. Cregan Stark himself recently faced a civil war of his own when his uncle was slow to relinquish power after Cregan came of age. Cregan ends up imprisoning his uncle and cousins after he won the north. So it will be interesting to see if he can offer Jace any advice for the oncoming civil war. He might even urge Jace to act boldly just as he had. We see a Hightower knight, possibly Gwaine Hightower, the son of Otto, who Big Damo defeated in the joust during season 1 with a questionable move. Corlys Velaryon returns. Notice that he now holds the classic Hand of the King pin that we saw in Game of Thrones. As Hand, he advises Rhaenyra to crush the beast at its head, urging her to take out Aegon or the Greens' leadership. We see a shot of Daemon wandering through Harrenhal in his Targaryen armor. Alicent and Helena in veils of mourning traveling through King's Landing. Again, I'm sure nothing bad happened with all that blood price tunnel, blood and cheese stuff. We see Daemon issuing a warning from Dragonback, channeling his inner Aegon the Conqueror, followed by a shot of Criston Cole riding and Baela flying on Moondancer. Aegon smacks some dude, probably related to blood and cheese. And the trailer ends with Caraxes roaring in the rain while Daemon takes Harrenhal. And that's pretty much it. Which trailer did you like better? And who do you support, black or green? Please like and subscribe. Cheers.